Hello everyone, Sandra Madafferi, and here I am with part 2 of emotional intelligence. I skipped yesterday and wasn't able to get on. Thursdays are usually fairly busy for me, but here I am today with emotional intelligence part 2. And to me, I've got lots and lots of notes today. To me, this part 2 of emotional intelligence is probably one of the most important ones to understand and gauge. And the reason for that is because it is about self-management. So a couple of days ago, I did self-awareness. If you haven't caught that, it's on my profile on my page, and it's also in my YouTube channel. But today I want to speak about self-management, which, like I said, this is really important. And why is it? Well, because we are the ones that are in control of our thoughts, our feelings. We are the ones that control our reactions. We are the ones that control our perceptions. Nobody can do that to us or for us. It is all within ourselves. It is all something that we have, that we control about ourselves. You cannot control anything that goes on outside of yourself, but you can definitely 100% control what goes on inside yourself. So before I start giving you hints and tips, I need to talk a little bit about what self-management is. So first of all, the very first thing that's really important about self-management, and which affects your emotions, because this is all about emotion, control. Well, not controlling, but managing your emotions, managing your state, managing the way you react and things like that to things. And the first bit that you need to understand is a personal integrity. So this definitely will affect your state. It will affect your emotions. And personal integrity is about, are you living your life according to your values and to what you want to do in your life? Are you living your life according to what's important to you? So it's important that you understand that one of the ways that we can be very much affected, or our emotions, our state can be very much affected, is by the fact that if we're living our life for someone else. So the first thing that you really need to have a look at is, are you living your life according to what's important to you? The second one is responsibility. Are you taking accountability for yourself? Are you taking accountability and being responsible for who you are and who you want to be? So it's really important that you take responsibility for yourself and begin to become aware that things do trigger you, and then you begin to manage that. So they're the two key things to become aware of when we're looking at self-management. And the other thing is to make sure that you have got the self-awareness, which I said is part 1, to be able to manage yourself so that you aren't run by your emotions, but you are more aware of your emotions. I'm not saying not to have emotions, but if your emotions are running you, that's when we can say that you don't have emotional intelligence. So it's really important to be aware first of these emotions and then to be able to manage them. So let's have a look at a couple of things that you can do and a couple of things that you can become more aware of. So one of the things that you can do is begin to choose emotions that help you change your state. So if you're you wake up in the morning and you're feeling really unhappy and you're feeling really depressed and things like that, and I'm going to tell you how to do this soon, make a conscious effort to choose a different way of being. Make a conscious effort to choose a different way of responding to your day, of waking up in the morning. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to take yourself back, and I was just talking about this to someone this morning, is to take yourself back to when you were happy, when you were feeling peaceful, whatever this empowering state is for you, and have a look at, what did I do there? What was I doing? How was I responding? How was I acting? And bring that back to where you are now. So it's really important that you choose to be in a different state. Now, I'm going to talk about making sure that you do become aware and some ways that you can become aware and work through your emotions, because we don't push emotions down, but we don't dwell on them. Okay, we don't sit in them, because that's when it becomes a real problem. So what you want to do is you want to acknowledge an emotion. You want to acknowledge why you're feeling like that. You want to have some awareness of it. And these 5 principles of emotional intelligence all work in together. So it's not one or the other, it's all of them. So you become aware of them, and then you manage your state and say, I choose not to be in this. And we're going to talk a little bit about how you're going to do that. Another way if you wake up in the morning, or if a situation happens, you can always choose to look at it differently. Okay. I'm seeing this a lot at the moment, where people, a lot of really terrible things are happening, guys. But it's always good to look at something from a different point of view. And again, I'm going to tell you how to do this soon, and what else, rather than being caught up in that little box or having blinkers on that this is the only way, look at what else. Okay, so that's another way that you can do this. And like I said, I've got about 4 pages of notes today to talk through, so I'll tell you how to do that. So let's have a look at some factors that will affect your emotions. Now, I'm going to give you these factors without any judgment. It is your choice to become aware of whether these factors are influencing your emotions and whether you want to do anything about them. And the first one is self-image and your self-belief. So how do you see yourself? And if you don't like what you see, how can you change yourself so that you do like what you see? What beliefs do you have about yourself? Do you think you're not worth it? Do you think you're not good enough? They're the sort of things that can affect your emotions. Now, I'm not saying they're right, wrong, or anything else. I'm saying that these are some things that you need to become aware of. And if you want to self-manage, you need to become aware of that this is one of the problems. Another one is not getting enough sleep. If you're tired, you will have no control over your emotions. Really important that you understand that. So make sure you get a minimum of 8 hours sleep every night. Eat well, and eat enough. Don't overeat, but don't go hungry either. If you're hungry, again, this will be something that will affect your emotions, because, you've probably seen the commercials on TV about being hangry or whatever they call it. But it's the truth. If you're hungry, you will have less control over your emotions. Eat at suitable times, and also eat well. And when I say eat well, I'm talking about eating fresh, nutritional food, not junk, you can have an occasional an occasional little splurge or something like that, but I'm talking about doing this on a regular basis. So not eating junk, not having sugar, because these things will actually give you highs and lows, because they create chemical imbalances in the body. So you need to have a look at what you're eating. Make sure that you examine what you're doing and whether you're living on your terms according to what's important to you and according to your values. One of the things that I've noticed with clients is that a lot of clients tend to be quite angry, quite upset, and all those sorts of things when they come to see me, because they're living their life for someone else. So you need to make sure that you are aware of what is important to you and live your life according to your values, or else you will have what we call an unconscious value and an unconscious integrity clash. So really, really important that you understand that. Drugs. And I'm talking about all kinds of drugs here, including pharmaceuticals and medication. They have chemicals whether they're illegal or non-illegal drugs, all drugs have chemicals which will affect the chemicals in your body, which can in turn affect your moods and your emotions. Alcohol, caffeine, and sugary drinks are probably some of the worst things that you can drink. So if you're going to go into a situation that you think could be volatile, avoid those sorts of things. And the other one is your relationships. Are you in good relationships? And when I'm talking about relationships, I'm not only talking about a significant other, I'm talking about people in general. Are you hanging around people that lift you up, or are you hanging around people that are dragging you down? Because if you're hanging around people that are dragging you down, it will rub off on you. And this is what happens when I speak to clients again all the time. They have friends that don't support them, and it gets them down, and it creates this emotional imbalance. Remember, guys, this is about self-management. Okay, so you need to look at what's happening. The other thing that you need to look at is your expectations. What are your expectations of yourself? Are your expectations of yourself a little bit too high, and thus creating this emotional roller coaster? I know that this is one of my biggest problems. I set these incredibly high expectations that sometimes I can't, it's just impossible, not even realistic for me to get to those expectations, but I set these incredibly high expectations and then wonder why, when I don't reach them, why I go on a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. And this also happens with, people that set New Year's resolutions and things like that, or they set goals, they set unrealistic goals, high expectations, and then of course get flattened out when they don't reach them. So some techniques that you can implement straight away to help you if if that emotional and thought chatter cycle is happening and you're on this roller coaster of thought and emotion, because what happens, you have a thought, it creates an emotion, the emotion then creates a chemical reaction, it goes back to the brain, you have another thought, and we create a roller coaster. So stop yourself. That's the first thing you can do. Just say, stop, I'm not doing this, and examine your thoughts. And are your thoughts real? Is what you're having this emotional roller coaster about real? So just stop and examine what's going on. Meditate. And the sort of meditations which are best to do right at the moment are mindful meditations which bring you back to where you are right now. So something like Yoga Nidra is probably one of the best meditations you can be doing right now, because it brings you back into your body. Change what you're doing. Go for a walk. Get out in nature. Change the activity that's happening. Take a pause. Take a step back and go for a walk, and then go back to whatever you're doing once you've calmed down. Practice gratefulness. What are you grateful for? Gratefulness is an amazing tool to have. So what are you grateful for? Create a reference point of an empowering emotion. And I spoke about this just before. Allow yourself to go back to a time when you felt really happy or lots of joy, and create a reference point in your body, or an anchor, we call this. And when things are not going the way you want them, go back to that reference point, go back to that anchor, and allow yourself to feel that straight away. Remind yourself of that other emotion to counteract these negative or unempowering emotions that are coming up. Another great technique here is I call it the 4-count breathing technique. And what you do is you breathe in for the count of 4. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. Breathe out for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold for 4. And then breathe in. So it sort of looks like this. Okay, so you're breathing in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. The thing about these techniques is that when you are doing one of these techniques, it's really difficult to put your focus on the emotion that you're feeling. And it allows you to begin to detach, and it allows you to be able to see what the truth is and what's really going on. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is some awareness around how can you improve and become more aware of your self-management. So as I said before, stop yourself and do something different. Without fail, that has got to be one of the best things to do. Stop yourself and do something different, something that you like, something that makes you happy, something that's going to change your state automatically. Learn what your triggers are. So learn what sets you off. And at the moment, if watching the TV sets you off, don't watch the TV. Or be prepared. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. Okay? If you're wanting to watch TV, I watch it twice a day just to keep up on what's going on. I mentally prepare myself before I turn the TV on and watch the news. Challenge your thoughts and beliefs. So when these thoughts, beliefs that are creating your emotion, because that's what happens. You have a thought or a belief or something comes up, something gets triggered, and then you feel your emotion. Challenge it. Is it real? What's it really about? Challenge the emotion. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? Is it real? What's it about? So really challenge your thoughts and beliefs. Take time out. Just walk away. If you're really finding yourself that you're starting to get really worked up, walk away, okay? Seek help. Talk to a third party, or if there is no one that you feel you can talk or confide in, get help from a coach, from a mentor. Seek help. Do not do this alone. Allow yourself to step outside the problem and view it from a third party. This is a great NLP technique that we have, and you can actually view from a different perspective, from a different party, like it's not you in the picture. And if that was your friend going through that, how would you deal with that? Give yourself, first and foremost, compassion and empathy, and give others compassion and empathy. Remember, people at the moment are all dealing with a lot of stuff too. So you need to, if things are triggering you, if things are happening and you're going on a bit of an emotional roller coaster at the moment, remember that other people are dealing with stuff as well. So here's a couple of things to do to improve your self-management skills. Get curious about your thoughts. Don't just allow yourself to have thoughts. Don't just allow yourself to have emotions. It's okay to have them, but get curious and understand them. And see if they're real. If they're real, well, then they're valid. But if they're not real, then you might want to have a look at what's going on that's creating this. Another good thing to do is have three different ways and plans that you can implement if you start to feel negative. So if you know that you wake up in the morning and you wake up not feeling great, what are three plans that you can implement to lift your mood? If you get triggered at work, if you're working, if you get triggered in whatever way, watching the TV, what are three things that you can do to help yourself get out of that very, very quickly? Get to know your emotional patterns. So get to know what sort of things trigger you, get to know how you spiral and how you get on that roller coaster. This is really empowering stuff, guys. Journal. I talk about journaling all the time. Journal. Journal without automatic writing, I call it. Journal without rereading. Journal without analysing it. Journal without judging. Just journal. It will give you great insight into what's going on. And this is not about finding out if you're right or wrong, good or bad. It's about becoming aware first and foremost, and then managing it so that you can live in a much more peaceful state. So if you know that there's going to be a situation that's coming up, a meeting, or you're going to see someone or whatever, and you know that there's going to be a possible trigger in that meeting, or that chatting with someone or watching the TV, it's going to cause you anxiety, Rehearse in your mind. We use this in hypnosis, in performance enhancement. Rehearse in your mind over and over again exactly how that situation's going to run with it being completely successful. So you don't run it thinking, oh my God, I'm going to go in there and this is going to happen and I'm going to get triggered and I'm going to get anxious. No. Rehearse it the way you want it to be successfully. So that I'm going to watch the TV now. I'm going to listen to all the news and I'm going to be informed. I'm going to sit comfortably, relaxed. I'm going to be drinking and sipping on a cup of tea. And I'm just going to take it in with curiosity and I'm just going to understand what's going on in the world without reacting. Now, everyone's heard the saying, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen to people more, speak less. Because what tends to happen is people do not listen to other people. They think they know what someone else has said and they speak over them, or they then speak without truly listening. So listen, okay? If you are in a situation where you're getting triggered, where you think I'm just about to lose my SHIT, stop, breathe. And the 4 breaths in and 4 breaths out and 4 holding on either end of that is a really good way before you respond. One of the other things that I say to people is before you talk, count to 10. That gives you enough time to actually focus on what you're going to say rather than bang, shooting out the first thing that comes out of your mouth. And another one which is really important is to begin to become aware of your body and the shifts that start to happen when you're about to get onto an emotional roller coaster. So I hope that's helped you guys today. I've been on, again, quite a bit. Unfortunately, I would love to say that I can do these things quite fast, but I actually can't because they are very, sorry guys, I'm just fixing something on the laptop. They are the emotional intelligence is quite a big subject, and it's really important at this time in our lives that we develop and understand emotional intelligence, because it will definitely help you to get through this incredibly trying time for all of us. So again, guys, remember, this isn't about being right, wrong, or self-judgment. This is about managing and understanding that part of emotional intelligence is to self-manage your thoughts, your emotions, so that they don't run your life. And we've all, I'm sure, have seen people who allow their emotions run their life. And usually what tends to happen is that they will have lots of trouble. That's all I'm going to say. You know, they have lots of trouble, lots of things go wrong. And, you know, if maybe you've not had this in a relationship, I'm sure you will have had it in bosses and management and stuff like that. So this is about number 1, which is what I spoke about the other day. Remember, guys, this is all being downloaded on YouTube, so you can jump on and watch it. Self-awareness is the first pillar of emotional intelligence, and then this is self-management, and they go hand in hand. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Please reach out if anyone has any questions. If not, I will see everyone again tomorrow for pillar 3. Thanks, guys. Bye for now.